Hey guys, it's me Sujo over here. Welcome back to another video. So on this video, I'm going to be talking about why are foreign investors investing more in Vietnam. So if you're new to my channel, the name of my channel is called as Sujo in Vietnam. I've been living in Vietnam for over 7 years now. I was an English teacher before for 4 years, I think 4.5 years, and then I started my own online business, and I'm also a full-time YouTuber. So if you're new to my channel, welcome to my channel. And if you have not yet subscribed to my channel, it takes less than 2 seconds to hit the subscribe button, and that way you can support my work and my content. So yeah, I'm right now here on a short trip here in India. So I'm back home, and it's good to be back home, eating a lot of Indian food and enjoying the vibrant energy over here in my city. And so, yeah, I just want to talk about this topic. So, let me just have a bit of my afternoon tea. So, I'm going to give you my personal insights because I've been living in Vietnam for over 7 years, and I do follow Vietnamese politics, especially in terms of economic growth, the strategies which Vietnam is actually following when it comes to foreign direct investments. And you got to excuse me, it's a bit noisy outside because I'm in India. So, there are a lot of people when they drive their cars, they do a lot of honking. So that's some kind of an issue. I don't know. And also, I would like to welcome the Prime Minister of Vietnam, Prime Minister Pham Minh Chinh, to India. He's come here on a 3-day state visit. So, welcome to India. And I'm very happy to see a lot of bilateral agreements being signed between Vietnam and India. And I had mentioned this in one of my old videos that why the why the Prime Minister of Vietnam should make a state visit to India, because that's going to be a significant game changer, a very positive bilateral agreement between Vietnam and India. And also, I would request our Indian Prime Minister, Mr. Modi, to also make a state visit to Vietnam and further enhance the cooperation, bilateral cooperation between Vietnam and India. So welcome to India. Okay, all right. So I've just taken down some notes. Um, okay, so I'm going to give you my personal experience, personal opinions as well. Okay, so I've made some checklists of which I feel are best suited. So the first one would be the stable economic growth. So if we see around 2023, the Vietnam's GDP growth rate was around 5% to 5.5%. So I believe right now in 2024, Vietnam's GDP is hovering around 6 to 6.5%. There was a bit of economic slump down a few months back. Like things were going a bit slow, but I believe it must be around 6% or 6.5%, somewhere in that range right now. So of course, this actually makes it very attractive for foreign investors to pick Vietnam as the first option when it comes to foreign direct investments, because there are a lot of Chinese investments in Vietnam, and also a lot of Korean investments. So I think the Korean investments are going up right now because the top tourism market in Vietnam right now are the Koreans. So I think South Korea is investing heavily in Vietnam right now. And also the same goes for Japan, because Japan and Vietnam, they also have partnership when it comes to the infrastructure, and also the metro project, which is right now in the pipelines. That's a cooperation between Vietnam and Japan. So If everything goes well, I think the metro project should be initiated by within the next 2 to 3 months. I mean, I would love to see the metro start in Saigon and Ho Chi Minh, because that would definitely cut down the traffic in Saigon. Because majority in Vietnam, the majority number of vehicles in Vietnam, they're usually two-wheelers. You'll see a lot of motorbikes. I mean to say scooters and everything, so two-wheelers, not much of cars. So I think that would be a big game changer to cut down the congestion level in Ho Chi Minh City, the streets, the roads. I mean downtown city. Let's talk about the second factor would be Vietnam's FDI diversification portfolio. So now, over the past year, and especially the past few months, Vietnam is definitely diversifying its FDI portfolio, and especially they're also exploring into new markets like in South America, especially Cuba, and other South American countries, and also tapping into European markets. And also this could be like Poland. So there's a lot of investments, FDI investments right now between Poland, and of course, they're trying to crack a deal for the free trade agreement between Vietnam and Australia, and also trying to secure the FTA agreement between Vietnam and United States. So I think what India can what India can learn from this is that I think it would be better if India can also diversify its FDI portfolio and explore new markets, especially the South American markets, and also tap more into the European markets. So I think that would be a more attractive portfolio for India when it comes to foreign direct investments. So I think India should also look into this. All right, so the third one would be the strategic location. So, like Vietnam is very strategically located in Southeast Asia. So like if I want to catch a flight from Ho Chi Minh to Bangkok, it will just take around 1 hour's flight. If I want to go somewhere in Southeast Asia, it'll take around 1.5 hours. Compare that, if I want to take a flight from Mumbai to Bangkok, it's going to be taking me like 4.5 hours. So of course, Vietnam is definitely very strategically located in Southeast Asia, which makes it more attractive for these Southeast Asian countries to invest more in Vietnam. So I think the option for India would be if they can come up with some secure, with additional routes, which would cut down the shipping time. So that would also make India more attractive for the Southeast Asian markets to invest more in terms of FDI in India. Like take for example, the Korean cars. Like if you see the Japanese and Korean brands in terms of vehicles in Vietnam, they're more up to date compared to what you will get out here in India. I mean, you do have brands like Kia, you have Hyundai, but the models are not very up to date. Even like if I look at the two-wheelers. So definitely the quality of two-wheelers, cars, in terms of brands are much better in Vietnam compared to in India. I mean, I'm talking about the up-to-date models, I mean, like, so I think that could be taken into account. So if there could be additional routes, shipping routes, or, or cutting down the flying hours between India and Southeast Asia, I think that would be much better, which I think could take into effect. And of course, I spoke about the free trade agreement. I think Vietnam is pushing with Australia for the free trade agreement. I don't know if it's taken into effect or not. I'm not an economist, but of course, that's going to be a very big plus point. And of course, You have the crouching tiger, you have China. So, I live in the countryside. I've been living in the countryside in Vietnam for over 2 years now, and there are a lot of Chinese factories. So, yes, there's like, because there's an economic slowdown in China. So, a lot of manufacturers, they would like to shift their hub to Vietnam because of cheap labor costs. And of course, most of these Chinese manufacturing plants are also based in the countryside, so especially where I stay in the Long An city, Long An province, and also other regions. So that makes it more attractive. So yeah, so that could be also one reason. Of course, you do also have Taiwanese factories. You do have semiconductor factories, which are also there in Vietnam. All right, so moving on would be the growing domestic market. Okay, the growing domestic market demands. Okay, so let's face it, the purchasing power parity of Vietnam is much higher compared to India. Okay, so it's normal to see a lot of Vietnamese have a lot of iPhones. And I'm not talking about I'm not talking about outdated iPhones. I'm talking about like iPhone 14s, iPhone 15s, and it's much easier for Vietnamese to get these kind of up-to-date electronics. All right, so uh, it's just that, and of course, you have other electronic items and everything. So there is a growing demand. Okay, so there are a lot of Vietnamese now. The younger generation Vietnamese, they do have the money. There are a lot of entrepreneurs, young entrepreneurs in Vietnam, and they want to, they want to get the latest gadgets and, like iPhones and everything like that. So they have the purchasing power parity. What India should do is also focus more on young entrepreneurs, like, SMEs and everything, and also increase up its purchasing power parity. So that would be a good thing to watch. Also, let's talk about the environmental and sustainability factors of Vietnam. So Vietnam is right now pushing for a green energy and environment. So they're also investing heavily in semiconductors, because right now the environmental situation in Taiwan is kind of a bit volatile. Anytime now, there could be escalation between China and Taiwan. So, and of course, we know that the quality of semiconductor chips in Taiwan is of very good quality standards. And of course, the biggest importer of semiconductors from Taiwan is United States. But I think that shift might be focusing, and I think Vietnam is also ramping up its domestic semiconductor manufacturing sectors, coming up with high quality semiconductor chips as a backup reserve when it comes to semiconductor exports. So I think India should also focus on ramping up its semiconductor industry when it comes to domestic manufacturing and also exporting it to the world. All right, and of course, the environment in Vietnam is very safe. Vietnam is a very safe country compared to in India. Like in India, you do have a lot of, you still have a lot of volatility. And of course, there could be a bit of complications, if foreign investors want to invest in India, because you have to follow through some good guidelines and procedures. But I think that's being lenient. That's kind of being relaxed a bit right now, by the Indian government. But it's just that, compared to the safety, security, I think Vietnam is way up there. And of course, India really needs to push this forward, to make it a bit more safer environment for investors to invest, and to make it more safe country, in general. Um, Now let's talk about the technological advancement. Yes, Vietnam is right now pushing more into digitalization, into a digital economy. This was the vision by the late party chairman. My condolences, my sincere condolences. He passed away recently. So, but this was his vision to make Vietnam more digitalized, to implement more digital currencies, to have that digital economy. So, Vietnam right now is pushing that forward. And of course the semiconductors. So that makes it more attractive for foreign investors to invest more in Vietnam. So finally, of course, there's this boom of e-commerce. Like in Vietnam, you do have two e-commerce giants. You have like Shopee, you have also Lazada. These are two e-commerce giants, and of course, there's more push for shopping online. And I do see a lot of younger generation Vietnamese. They usually, they do a lot of online shopping, including me. When I'm there in Vietnam. So it's coming to that, and of course making it more digitalized. So I think that is also one factor in terms of manufacturing. And Vietnamese people, they're very hardworking people, especially in the manufacturing sectors. Like factory workers. So they have that drive. They do also get that kind of incentives, and of course fintech. So I'm not an economist, but I just shared my personal opinion, because since I've been living there for so long, and of course adding my personal insights. So I would love to hear from you that is that why, according to you, are more foreign? Is there more foreign direct investments in Vietnam? What makes Vietnam a more attractive market? And just a quick one I want to let you know is that Vietnam is more into the manufacturing sector. Okay, so unlike in Thailand, where most of its economy is revolving around tourism, so Vietnam focuses mostly on the manufacturing sector. And of course, I think there should be also long-term visas, for foreign expats who want to stay in Vietnam. So I think that should also take into effect. And also, I would love to hear from you that, what do you think, India should do to make to increase its FDIs, and make it a bit more attractive market? We'd love to hear your suggestions and opinions. So if you like watching this video, make sure to like this video and all the good stuff. If you found this video to be informational, you can always buy me a coffee. The link is down in the description below. And if you want to start a successful online business, you can check out the link down in the description below. It's a free webinar access invite masterclass. It's free to join, so I highly recommend you can check that out. With that being said, this was me, Sujoy, from India. Peace out.